And the biggest thing for you as a market anarchist to face, I think, to answer, is vital resources. You make no distinction between, me buying, I don't know, DVDs and me buying water. You think that the market forces all work the same. Well, no, because if I control the source of a truly vital resource, and this blurs into resources that people just want a lot, that aren't quite vital, but that are treated like vital. Like people want leisure, and that turns out to be a vital resource, sort of, but you can't quite, corner the market on leisure because it's sort of slippery. There's lots of kinds of leisure, and there's lots of alternate kinds of, of personal entertainment. But the thing is, if somebody corners a market on something truly vital like water, then they're allowed to coerce you, because it's just like pointing a gun to your head. If you can't get clean water, but you can sort of afford it, but you don't have access to it yourself, somebody can demand all of your other property, such that then giving them all your other property endangers your ability to survive. If somebody owns a vital resource, they can coerce you. Why? Because if I withhold a vital resource, it's just like having a gun to your head. And this is the issue about there's always coercion. And coercion has a blurry line. I mean, it might seem hard and fast what kinds of coercion you don't want to allow. You don't want to let somebody shoot somebody else, okay? You don't want them to shoot him in the foot. Do what I say, or I'll shoot you in the other foot. Okay, fine. You don't want them to be able to point a gun and say, listen, do what I say. That's violent coercion. But even this kind of coercion is blurry, because what if there's no bullet in the gun and I point it at somebody? See, most coercion is like this. It's mental. It's mental. If I take an empty gun and point it at someone, in a lot of cases that's just as good as having a loaded gun, because they don't know. And I'm manipulating them. They know that they are being threatened. They aren't really being threatened because it's an empty gun. I can't do anything with it. So in some objective sense, they're not really being threatened. But they would be being threatened. If I'm taking away a vital resource, then they have to think about their own survival in the same way as if I'm pointing a gun. It gets blurrier still with the gun example. I mean, what if the gun looks like a toy gun? I point a toy gun, it looks like a toy gun, at somebody and threaten them. Is that coercion? What if I say I'm going to go buy a gun and shoot them? Is that coercion? I mean, all starts to be dependent on, well, do they think I really have the means? And, they have to make guesses about my psychological makeup and what I'm really willing to do. The point is, all coercion ultimately is emotional. Because go back to that first example. Somebody shoots you in the foot and threatens to... You don't have to give in to that. You can just rush that guy. Yeah, you might die, but if you don't agree to pay all of your property to get some water, then you and your kids might die. It all comes down to, yeah, you might die, and it's a risk and reward calculation. There's always coercion. And so, no, I don't mean the coercion of, I use my property and then nobody else can use it. I'm talking about using my property to get really good deals from people, okay? Like having to give up all your property, or just having to pay basically an unfair price because somebody's scalping you for a vital resource that they've managed to monopolize. Now, you seem to think that people couldn't monopolize a vital resource, but you're mistaken. If people couldn't monopolize a vital resource, then it would make sense, a lot of the things you believe. But they can, and especially because you don't have to control all the water in the United States to be controlling a vital resource. It's enough to control all the water that's available to that person. It's enough to control just the transportation, that goes into that small town. If you own the 4 roads or the 1 road that goes into that small town, then you have access to a vital resource. None of the market dynamics work if they can't get to the market. Okay, so this is a problem, economists make in general, all of these assumptions about the perfect market, and that a knowledgeable consumer class, and that there always is competition. No, there's not always competition. There's a lot of examples where it breaks down, and even on the national level, where to a certain degree, okay, there's always competition, it's still limited. You know, it's limited, and there's selection functions that make all of those in that marketplace have common interests as well, and that means that you can have trust. So even when there is competition, that competition can form together where it makes sense, you know, and they can, you know, and then they can use their control of that vital resource as a trust. So, you know, I am glad that you accepted this. I think the only danger for your system of accepting this is to realize that we're damn close to it now. All we really need is to allow you to emigrate to I know you're in Canada, but whatever, to another country and call everything here DROs and we're in the clear. So what do you really want then? You know, if you want actual freedom, you have to ask for us to reform our system internally, and you have a better chance now. You'd have no chance of doing that if we convert to this market anarchy system where, you know, the FBI is just a big DRO. You have a better chance now of fighting for freedom, because all your system really allows you is the right to get the hell out and try your thing somewhere else, and good luck. So is that really good enough? Is because, you know, it's like you might achieve freedom in principle and never ever have it on this actual earth.